Shalom, Shofar Mountain. Shalom, YouTube. See, last time I said shalom to YouTube, and then I'm like, oh man, I think greet the Shofarians. That's kind of rude, man. So we changed that. All right. We're going to be in Revelation 12 today, which is, this is an important sermon for us, the Shofarians, those of us who are at Shofar Mountain. And it's an important part of Scripture for why we're here. We're going to get into that a little bit today, too. Let me just get my glasses clear. But we're going to start in Revelation 12, where we left off last time, verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared of, it says God in the King James, of Elohim, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So the woman flees to the wilderness in this verse, and we talked about who the woman was last time. Who remembers who the woman is?
The church.
It's Israel, the church, and what you probably know because you read ahead probably, but we've just kind of switched gears in the vision, if you will, and we're going to future. We were kind of in past a little bit last time. Now we're going to future, and so this is the remnant of the church in the end times. This is the woman, and she flees to the wilderness. And the woman here clearly represents Israel, which is believers, followers of Yeshua, believers in Yah. It's us. It's us right here, Israelites. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you call yourselves? I'm like, man, I don't like doing that because then it puts you in a box. You know, it's like, and then people automatically go, oh, you're in this box, so therefore you're, no, you know, I don't know that the first century church, the followers of Yeshua, called themselves anything. What are you? I'm a follower of Yeshua. You know, but I don't even think they defined it like that. It's just, this is what I do. I follow the teachings and I follow Yeshua. And to the extent that they called their religion anything, they called it the way, right? And so I think a good term is Israel. Because clearly we are Israel, we're grafted into the tree of Israel and that kind of thing. And so this woman represents Israel, believers. Now, the woman fled to the wilderness where she has a place prepared of God. So she flees, she runs away, she goes to the wilderness, to a hidey hole, to a place, to a bug out location prepared by God. Do you think God took, because we're going to read later in this how he brings Jerusalem, the new city, down, right? And who is it? The Louis Farrakhan and his guys think that there's like some big UFO up there that's going to come down or something. Do you think that's what Yah's going to do? He's going to put this place for the believers in the end times that's just going to be this magical Shangri-La in the wilderness that they can go to. It's just going to appear? That's not going to happen. That's not how Yah works. When Yah prepares a place like that, when Yah does something like that, he typically uses his people to facilitate that happening. And I believe that we are one such place here on Shofar Mountain. The other day, I was asked, with all due sincerity, what is Shofar Mountain? Can you explain to me what Shofar Mountain is? And honestly, I gave a really unsatisfactory response. I was not happy with my response. Sister Kate and I, she was with me, actually talked about it afterwards, and I'm like, okay, I've got this down for next time. It's like the question, you know, it's like, okay, I learned from that bad answer, but you always have to improve. And so I think better is, what is Shofar Mountain? And a lot of people out there in YouTube land want to know, and man, there's a lot of people we have ourselves figured out, but there's a lot of people in YouTube land that don't get it, don't understand. It's not like we go out of our way to explain it. But the sad thing for me, sad's a strong word, is when people move here from across the country because they want to be part of Shofar Mountain, and they stick for about 3 weeks, and then they're gone because we're not what they expected. And y'all, not now while we're on film, but if you think that we're putting up airs or doing something different, that's not, I mean, we don't hide anything. We're not like faking anything. But we also, I don't think you get the enormous, people see a video of Shofar Mountain, or they see me or Sister Kate's videos, and they're like, okay, I understand everything that is. But a lot of people read into things what they want to see until it's up front and in their face. And so what is Shofar Mountain? Well, Shofar Mountain is a place right now. I mean, we call this land Shofar Mountain. So that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is we're a congregation, right? The congregation is called Shofar Mountain. Now, those two aren't the same. We've got a congregation, us, we're Shofar Mountain, and then we're on Shofar Mountain, so that's different. I did a video recently. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in this sermon. But we are also a mutual assistance group, right? A MAG. We're all kind of preppers for the most part, and so we do things together, and we have plans, and we talk about things. So Shofar Mountain's a MAG. But really, what Shofar Mountain is an idea, a vision of bigger things. And the way I see it, Shofar Mountain is a future place of refuge. That's what we're moving towards. Like the woman goes to the wilderness to a place prepared for her by Yah. Shofar Mountain is one of those places. It's a place like that. And so for that place to get prepared, we all bring our different, we're all different. Every one of us here is different. We all bring different things to the table. And if you don't think I think about all the special skills that you all as individuals have, I do. I think about, all right, where's this person going to fit? Where's this person going to fit? Where's this going to fit? And we can talk about that later. But all of that together is Shofar Mountain. And they're all separate, but they're all related. It's like a Venn diagram where you have all those things and they overlap here and here and here and that kind of thing. And so I did a video. TJ was in a video with Steve. And I don't remember the title of it, but I did a video response to it. And it's important to what we're reading. And it was basically, when you die, we're splitting up your stuff. And then I think the way Steve approached it, and he had a discussion with TJ, hey, if we're a MAG and we all do these things together and somebody quits or we kick somebody out, how does that work with stuff? And so I thought it was a great topic, and I'm constantly encouraging other people out there to get together with others of like-minded belief, whatever they hold dear in their lives, for the times that are coming, to band together. And hey, this is one of the things you need to talk about as a group. Everybody wants to talk about how do you get in, but nobody wants to talk about what happens when you get out, or how do you get out. And Kevin, our buddy Kevin, our brother Kevin, was the one who taught me that concept. It's all fun and games when you're starting out. It's all light. We only see positive things. But sometimes people leave. For good reasons, for bad reasons. And better to figure out now as a group, before we get in, how we're going to get out. Right? Does that make sense? It's also a business thing. And so I did that, and my response, and I related to this, people who form MAGs who are preppers, they think we're all going to get together at a bug-out location when things happen. Okay, that's a good plan. Well, this woman who flees to the wilderness, to put it in modern preparedness vernacular, she's fleeing to a bug-out location prepared for her by Yah. Right? That's what's happening. And the church is going to that. And in my video, I said, so how do we handle that? Let's say it's not you. Let's say it's one of these people that lives 3 miles from here, just a person. You're going to form a group. How are you going to handle that? How are you going to decide that as a group? And I first published it on Patreon. I got nice comments. Then I put it on YouTube. Y'all should read the comments. The ones that I left up. Oh my, people are a mess out there. People are awful. Now, there's wonderful people out there too. But there are, I think sometimes, and especially me, living here with Sister Kate, and my only interaction really with real people is y'all, if you think about it. Flesh and blood world, I'm dealing with saints. For the most part. Having conversations only with saints. But there's some messed up people out there in the world, some bitter, angry people. And some of them, their spirit came right through in their comments, the spirit that's in them. And it's full of jealousy and anger and bitterness. And praise the Father, I was raised in a house where they didn't say don't be jealous. We were just raised in a house where you don't be jealous. And the story I always tell for that, and I think it's the first time I actually noticed this bitterness, this covetousness, this ugly, because those are really ugly emotions, jealousy and bitterness and ugliness. My son and I had gone hunting, and it was a place on a military base where you had to check in and check out, because they wanted to know who was on their land. So you go get a little tag, and they say, go to this area. When you're done, be here half hour after sundown. Well, where you check out is also where all the guys who are successful bring their deer to get them weighed and checked and hang it up. So it's kind of cool, while you're waiting in this long line of hunters to check out of the hunting area, you can see all the deer that people shot. And so there's these two guys in front of us in line. And with my son, we had a good time. We didn't see a deer that day. And it's cold and we're ready to go home. We're happy that we're going home. And there's all these deer. And there's a huge buck hanging up. And my son's like, can we go look at that? I'm like, well, I got to hold my place in line, but you can go look at it. So he goes over, he talks to the guy who shot this big buck, and he's like, wow, that's really big. Can I touch the antlers? And he's like, yeah, because he was little. And he comes back, and meanwhile, the two guys in front of me in line go, look at that. Isn't that just makes me sick. And I'm thinking, what makes you sick? He goes, man, look at that deer. I should have got that deer. That guy doesn't deserve that deer. And it was dripping off of him. These two guys, they were both kvetching at each other. And I was just like, that is so sad. Because the way I look at things, and I think probably the way you look, let's say Brother TJ, I don't know why I'm picking on you, because you're in the video.
Come on with it.
You're in the video. Let's say he inherits or he gets given, even better than inheriting. Some rich patron of his on his channel says, you know what, I'm giving you $10 million. Who here would not be happy for him?
Right?
Man, that's like... You win. And I wouldn't be like, all right, you got to give to the Lord, bro. But wouldn't you be happy for him?
Yeah.
You're like, man, this is life-changing. You can do it. Good for you. I wouldn't be like, man, I got a channel. Somebody should have given me $10 million. I mean, come on. That's a horrible attitude. Anyway, it comes out on YouTube. People are jealous of us. Because what we have, and I say this frequently, sometimes I think we don't realize what we have. What we have is beautiful. We have each other. We all agree on the big things. We all agree on a lot of the little things. And people out there in the world are just like, I could never have that. Oh, you can't do that. And anyway, the comments are terrible. And a lot of people were saying, like, one of the things is we say to bug out here, you have to bring a certain amount of food. Right? That's here. And that's to prevent hardship on everybody else. So you don't just show up and we can't feed you. Right? So to buy in, you got to buy in. And one of the things I talked about was if somebody leaves after the event happens, so it's chaos out there in the world, and somebody chooses to leave, the council is going to decide how much of that food they get to take with them, because the rules change when the balloon goes up. Well, here's the thing. Nobody here's going to leave at that point. And if we do leave, it's under good conditions, and it's like, we're going to go start another satellite, we're going to go out there and do these things, and it's like, okay, here, take all this and go. But if somebody has like this horrible attitude, it's like, I don't know that you're taking everything with you anymore, because we're a group. And people are like, well, that's communism, that's, how can you think like that? Well, let's talk about that. Let's go to Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2. That's Luke, we'll go there later. All right, there's 11, there's 2. So Peter is talking. It's a great sermon, speech that Peter gives in Acts chapter 2, but we're going to go towards the end of chapter 2. How can you think that way? Let's pick up in maybe verse 38. Yep. Then Peter said unto them, so he's kind of wrapping up this wonderful speech, sermon. Repent! Be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, for the remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost, the Ruach. You shall receive the gift of Ruach HaKodesh. For the promise is unto you, and to your children, and to all that are afar off, even as many as Yahweh or Elohim shall call. So he said, hey, this is good stuff, man. Come to Yeshua, come to Jesus, and here's all the goodness that's going to fall upon you. And with many other words, he did testify and exhort, saying, save yourselves from this untoward generation. Save yourselves from these wicked, evil, spiteful, jealous, bitter people that are out there. Save yourself. And it's like, well, only Jesus saves. Well, clearly Peter's saying save yourself because we have a decision to make. Whether we go that path, whether we stay in the way or we don't. And he's saying save yourself from this wicked, untoward generation. And then, so not everybody listens to him. Some people are like, nah, I would never do that. Yeah, you're crazy, man. That sounds like a cult. And he's like, them that gladly received his word, those that heard him and took it on board, they were baptized. And that same day there were added unto them about 3,000 souls. And we know how that ties back. Mm-hmm. And they continued. So there 3,000 people joined the cult. And then they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine. Check it out. And fellowship, and in breaking in bread, and in prayers. So there's this whole group of people. And now they're starting to hang out together. They're starting to pray together. They're starting to break bread and eat together. They're starting to fellowship with each other. They prefer the company of each other over that of the company of others. Why? Because we get each other. We understand and we know that the important things, those are taken care of. I don't have to worry about that stuff with you, so we can have more meaningful conversations about deeper issues. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles, because the Holy Spirit is just going on. And here we go, and here's why we're here. And all that believed were together, and they had all things in common. And they sold their possessions and goods and parted them to all men as every man had need. Now, a lot of people take that and split it the wrong way. This is like, I'm just going to keep picking on you today. TJ has to have his truck fixed, and nobody gave him $10 million this time. This time he's got no money, and if he doesn't have his truck fixed, life is hard on the TJ homestead. Well, we don't have the money here to buy him a truck or get his truck fixed. So you know what we do? Well, you know what? I got a shotgun I'm not using. I can sell that. I can probably get $200 for it. And you say, I've got this I can sell on eBay. And you say, you know what? I'm not using that old go-kart that I have. I'm going to sell that. And we sell what we have. And then we get the money to TJ so he can drive his truck. Mm-hmm. So that's what it means. We hold each other dear more than selfish me. Well, that's my shotgun. I've had that shotgun for 15 years. He didn't buy that shotgun. Do you see that clinging to stuff? Mm-hmm. It's not about stuff. At the same time, it's not about, hey, yeah, all my stuff, just take it and abuse it. Go ahead. No, it's not about that. And here's what I almost commented, like, response this to other people. I did a little bit and then I stopped. One either has the correct spirit or they don't. And if one doesn't have the correct spirit, there's no use arguing with them about disposition of stuff and goods and whether I'm going to share or not. I made another comment. I was actually picturing you and Cody in my mind when I made the comment while I was talking. And it's like, I could envision that if we're all here doing the things, and there's a chainsaw party that has to happen. Who's always in charge of the chainsaw when we get together? Cody and TJ, right? Well, let's say Clinton brings a chainsaw, and you bring a chainsaw, and I bring a chainsaw, and Roger brings a chainsaw. All right, well, we got chainsaws. We're all living here now. If Cody or TJ says, you know what, we're going to use that chainsaw right there for this task, and it's Roger's chainsaw. Roger doesn't get to say, oh, well, you can't use my chainsaw. Da, da, da. First of all, he wouldn't. He'd say, okay, but because we're all together. See, we have that spirit. This is the best chainsaw for the deal, and so we're going to use it. And if anybody did say, no, you can't use it, there'd probably be a meeting of the council saying, you know, what is this attitude going on here? Do you see the difference here? Like, if I try to make it personal to you, Roger's already thinking, if you need my chainsaw, you can have it. It's not a big deal. But to the YouTube audience, to the world out there, I'm trying to say, look, you got to understand, this is how things work, and you don't always get to have, this is mine. You can't have it. This is mine because I got the special, what's the best chainsaw? Steel
066.
I got a Steel, this is my Steel 066 that I only bring out on special days. You can't use it. So, the spirit of people. Wait, we're still going. And so they held all things in common. That's what it meant. And they gave them to every man as had need. And they, continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house. So see, they're fellowshipping together. We go to your house for supper. We go to your house for supper. You come to our house for supper, yada, yada, or breakfast or whatever. With gladness and singleness of heart. And the singleness of heart is dedicated to Yahweh through Yeshua. That's what their singleness of heart was. Praising Elohim and having favor with all people. Yeah, because all the people around them, just like with us, people see us and they're like, man, those guys are nice people. And they help us out. And when something happens, now, some of the people also say, and they're a cult. But I think generally they have a pretty good opinion of us, like, hey, those are good people. We get along with them and we help them out. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. Now check this out. See, in the world's view of things, that family out there, their dad's a doctor, mom's a high school secretary. They both are active in the community. They're good people. But if they're not in the church, they're not saved. Mm-hmm. See, only those that come into the church, the way, are saved. All right, let's go back to Revelation. That's Philippians. Revelation chapter 12. So the woman flees to the wilderness, place prepared for her by Yah, and then it gives how long she's there in days. That they should feed her there. That's kind of interesting too. She goes to this place prepared by God that they should feed her there. Mm-hmm. For 1,203 score days. How long is that?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. So she's there for 3.5 years. Now, the woman flees to the wilderness. Why does she flee? Why does anybody flee?
Persecution.
Because they're chasing us. It's like, you guys know I watch a lot of movies. It's a theme, a meme, or whatever in movies. We're all sitting here doing this right now, and all of a sudden, like, wow, did you see that deer run by? Wow, there goes all the cattle running by. Wow, all the birds are going that way. You know what we're doing? We're going that way. Right? They're fleeing because T-Rex is coming, or velociraptors, or a monster, Godzilla, or something. She is fleeing because she's being pursued. Clearly. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want to, the church, doesn't want to fight that thing, whatever's pursuing them right now. Why she flee? She could flee in any direction, right? It's a whole OODA loop thing. Something happens, you're going to run. You got to be smart which way you run, though. Not necessarily. It's like another movie theme. I'm being chased by the cannibals with the MP5s and the scimitars that are all piled onto a Jeep going, ah! And I run straight down the road. Are you kidding me? Boom! Through the trees, man. And they're always like, ah! Until the shoe comes off and the girl goes, ah! Right? And falls. But so this woman, the church can flee in any direction. Flees to the wilderness. She's not fleeing to the city. She's not fleeing to the plains necessarily. She's fleeing to the wilderness. We're going to look at why that is later. All right, so she flees to the wilderness. She's there for 3.5 years. Verse 7, and there was a war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Who's the dragon? Satan. And his angels, we talked about that last time, the third of the angels that he led astray when he said, come on, I can be like this guy, Yah. Who's with me? We're with you. And they follow him. So he's fighting. He's the commander, if you will, of his army of a third of the angels. Who's the commander of the other army? Michael, we're going to read later, is an archangel. He's like, it's the only time it's used. So he's the archangel, and they're fighting. The last time they fought, because see, they fought before. This fight's coming. This fight hasn't happened yet. It's future. But they fought before. Let's go to Jude. Jude 9. Right before Revelation. Jude 9. Here we go. Yet Michael the archangel. He's the only angel called the archangel. He's the head angel. Michael is the head angel. We could go on a tangent. I think at one time Lucifer was up there too. Satan, who became Satan, went to his head, and then he decided to do an overthrow. So Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, Satan, he disputed, by the way, the word of devil, if you go into that through the Greek and go back, it's like deceiver, like somebody who deceives. With the devil, he disputed about the body of Moshe, durst not bring against him so when he's doing that, he doesn't bring against him a railing accusation, but instead said, Yahweh rebuke thee. Mm-hmm. He's not going to get into a fight with Satan over the body of Moshe and say, no, look, you can't have it, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no, I'm just, because Satan's a powerful foe. Mm-hmm. So he's just going to grab on to Yahweh and say, Yahweh rebuke you. I saw you do that too recently. Good move. Go to the power of Yah. Who can stand against him? Nobody. And so he's just like, hey, I'm the archangel for Yah, and I'm all that. No, he says, Yahweh rebuke you. Why were they fighting over the body of Moshe? The body. Moshe's dead and in the ground. We know he's buried, right? He died, he went to his fathers, and then that's when Joshua takes over. We could read about that. Almost went there, but I think you all know that story. Let's go to Luke chapter 9. Why were they fighting over his body? Ah, very good. Luke chapter 9, verse 28. And it came to pass, about 8 days after these things, he, Yeshua, took Peter and John and James, and he went up into a mountain to pray, because Yeshua would withdraw to the high places, to the wilderness places, to get away from the noise and the chaos and the mess, to get close to his Father. So he went up to a mountain to pray, and as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment, his clothing, was white and glistening. So he started to glow. Remember when Moshe went up on the mountain and it came down and people couldn't even look at him? They made him wear a veil over his face because he was the Shekinah glory of Yah. And so he prayed, and the fashion of his countenance is white and glistening. Verse 30, and behold, there talked with him two men, which were Moshe and Elias. Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory like him, and spake of his decease, which should accomplish at Jerusalem. So here's Moses and here's Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration, which is what they call it. That's kind of weird if you think about it. Moses died. Did Elijah die? No, remember? We were talking about two witnesses. Some people think Moses and Elijah are them because of this. Elijah didn't die. He was taken up in a whirlwind. I submit that they represent two different aspects of believers. Moses represents those who will be resurrected in the end when Yeshua comes back. Those who have died in Christ and now they're resurrected when Yeshua comes back, because Moshe certainly died in Yah and then he's resurrected. And Elijah represents those who aren't going to die. They're going to be raptured, to use the modern term, which happens, when is the rapture, if you want to call it the rapture? At the last trump, right? At the end of tribulation. But those of us who are alive when he comes are going to join him in the sky. We're not going to die, those of us who are here. And I'm hoping to be one of those. I really want to see that. I think that's a cool ride. Phew, wow! All right, but I think that's the two representatives of believers right there. And they are giving counsel to Yeshua via Yah as messengers. But that's why Satan is fighting over his body. Because Satan knows more about what's coming than we do, not than Yah does. And so he's trying to stop that from happening, because they comforted Yeshua when they spoke to him. And he didn't want that to happen. So he's like, I can't get Elijah, he's up there with Yah already, but I can get this body of Moshe, and then it can't be resurrected. So I believe that's what was going on there. All right. Let us go back to Revelation. I really should just put a thing in here. I have so many appendices in my Bible. All right, Revelation chapter 12. There's 11. There's 12. There's war in heaven, Michael and his angels. All right, verse 8. And prevailed not. The dragon doesn't prevail. Satan doesn't prevail. Neither was there place found any more in heaven. Any more. This is future. So right now there's a place in the heavens, there's more than one, where these fallen angels are kept right now. And we're going to read, let me see if it's right here. Yeah, let's just go to 9 and then we'll come back. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, so there's a lot of different titles for him, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right, so Satan right now is the accuser of the brethren, of us. He's up there accusing us, the Father. Do you see what Sister Kate did? The whole time. And the angels have their own estate up there right now. It's not up in heaven anymore, but they're cast out. Well, at this point, they're being cast down to the earth. And it's coming. They're not anymore in heaven. It's coming. So let's just go to verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation. And they've been cast down just now. So now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Mashiach, of his Christ, his anointed of Yah. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accuses them before Elohim day and night. See, now we're no longer being accused day and night to the Father by Satan. They're cast down. Look how it refers to us. The accuser of our brethren. This mighty voice in heaven is talking about the accuser of our brethren. It's talking about us. We are all brothers, brothers and sisters, if you put it in modern English. We are all brothers and sisters with those with Yah. Right now, those of us who accept him, and they're happy because now Satan is no longer giving my brother and my sister the what for with Yah. He's no longer accusing us day and night in front of the Father. Verse 11. And they overcame him, Satan, this is an important verse, by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. These are three critical components in this one verse for fighting successfully Satan, for the adversary. The first one is the blood of the Lamb. Are you washed in the blood? He's accusing us of sin, right? That's what he's accusing the Father. Oh, you think you're so great, but I'm telling the Father everything you did. Sin. Who here is without sin? None of us. We're all sinners. We're still sinners. But the blood of Yeshua, the blood of the Lamb, atones for, covers our sin. Should we sin more that grace may abound? God forbid, right? But we're covered. It's paid for. That debt is paid for by Yah. And so if our debt is, by Yeshua, if our debt is paid for, that's a huge... What are you going to accuse me of? My Father already knows, and he's already said you're forgiven because of Yeshua. So it doesn't matter. And so that's taken a huge thing, a pedestal or whatever, out from underneath Satan. You can't accuse me. You can accuse me all you want, but it doesn't matter because I'm forgiven. Everything you're accusing me for, yeah, I did it. Father forgave me because of Yeshua, because I'm trying to live a righteous life in him. So that's one. The other one, what it says right here, is the word. And by the word of their testimony. Whose testimony?
The saints.
Our testimony. The word of our testimony. To whom or about what? About whom or about what do we testify? Yeshua and his atoning blood and what he did. And how you out there on YouTube can have this too. Just walk with Yeshua. And you too can have this. This is a huge thing. If you're fighting an enemy, this is how you get people to quit his side and come to your side. You start affecting the balance of power in fighting. And so this is a method of battle. We have to testify. Not just PJ on YouTube. Not just PJ standing here in the longhouse. We have to go out there and testify about Yeshua in whatever way the Father has gifted us to do that. You know, some of you it's a quiet word. Some of you it's just an offhanded comment. Some of you it's a long discussion with somebody in the grocery store line. But you're all capable of communicating with other people. You're all capable of testifying about Yeshua. And if you think about it, in this world, there is nothing more important than Yeshua and what he did for us. There's nothing else worth talking about. So we were talking earlier today, and I said, man, because I said this on YouTube, I don't follow, outraged teenager snowflakes. Greta who? I mean, let's talk about her. You know what? Let's talk about Yeshua and what he did for you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some real life-changing stuff. So that's the second way of fighting the devil. And then the third one that we read here is of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto the death. Oh, excuse me, one more thing. Word of testimony. What's the devil do?
Lies.
He lies and deceives. His deception is so hot, so good is it going to be that if Yah didn't shorten the time, even the elect would be lost. And so we're important to each other, to buck each other up. Because, you may see one part of the word that I didn't consider, and you may see one part of the word that we didn't consider, but together we're all testifying and we're fighting the propaganda and the lies to each other. Nothing light exposes the darkness, right? And the cockroaches run. All you got to do is throw light on a lie and people see the truth, right? And so that's important for our testimony right there too. Okay, so then we get to the part of they love not, this is the brethren in the end times, they love not their lives unto the death. What did Yeshua say? Greater love has no man than this, that he lays down his life for his friend. See, one of the big things Satan has is, well, if you don't do this, he's going to get you, or he's going to steal your chainsaw, or dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And so we hate, if instead you think, I'll die for my brother or sister, they can have my chainsaw, they can have my truck, I don't care. I'll die for that person, for each other, for the brother. And it's not just the Shofarians. There's more saints out there, and there's going to be more. We're going to get to that point too. There's going to be more. But if you have the attitude with Satan, that I trust Yeshua, his blood covers me, I am testifying to him no matter what, and I don't care if this body dies. Matter of fact, let's go to Philippians. Philippians 1. Philippians 1:21. We'll start in 20. According to my earnest expectation and my hope that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death. For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. You know what? It's not about me. I don't care if I live or die in the big scheme of things. If I live, I'm living for Christ. If I die, it's to magnify him. If you die righteously for him. It's like, hey, and I say this too, we all know where we're going when we die. So what are you worried about? What are you worried about Satan telling you if you don't do this, you're going to die? That's how we fight him. It's the attitude of, I trust in Yah, I trust in my brothers, I know, I'm confident in my salvation in that way. I know there's another way we could take that. And I'm willing to die for my brother. My life here, it doesn't matter. Because, how does that phrase go? This world is not our home.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
We're just here.
Of the world, but not in the world.
Right. The important part is coming. This is going to be horrible. And I'm thinking life's pretty good right now. Quite honestly. I'm liking life. But this is going to be like disgustingly horrible when we get the glory. It's going to be like, I can't believe, because we're going to do some self-reflection. When we're standing in front of Yeshua and he's judging us, we're going to be doing some serious self-reflection. We're not going to have to reflect. He's going to be pointing it out to us when he judges us. And it's going to be like, I cannot believe I thought that was important when I'm standing here in front of the master.
Wow.
Why did I care about my chainsaw? Why did I care about my wheat? Whatever. So that's how we fight the devil. All right. Verse 12, Revelation 6. Therefore, rejoice ye, heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. When he gets kicked out this final time with his angels, he's getting kicked out to earth. He's not going to have access to that realm anymore. They're coming here. Are angels powerful beings? Mm-hmm. They are. Almost every time we read about humans having contact with angels, they fall flat on their face. And they're like worshiping the angel. And what does the angel typically say? Get up! Get up! I'm just a messenger, man. I'm nothing compared to the glory of God. Don't worship me. But that's how great they are, right? It's just like, whoa, blows my mind. Well, they're coming down. Woe unto the earth. Because when they come down, they know the clock's ticking. It's like when you see football players, and I haven't watched football forever, but it's like the clock's down and we can win. But it's going to be hard and we got to push. And man, they fight hard. They're pushing for that 1 yard to get across the line or something like that. They're coming down with great fury and great wrath. Let me read that again. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath. But where are the believers? They're in the wilderness. Most of them. The smart ones. They're in the wilderness. Where are these angels mostly going? To the people. See, the prize is the people. The prize is the souls. That's what they're after. That's what Satan's after. The souls. And it's a numbers game. He's like, I'm getting all these people. There's a whole lot more people in Chicago than there is in all of the Ozarks. They're sending an angel to Chicago. I don't, that's not biblical. So remember when I said, why does the woman flee? Because she's being chased. Why does the church in the end times, the remnant, flee? Because they're being chased. And then I said, why does they flee to the wilderness? Mm-hmm. Come out of her, my people, lest you, partake of her sins and get her plagues. It's basically, if you don't come out of her, you are you're partaking of her sins. Just by being there, you've got a sin to be in this inhabited Babylon. And you're therefore getting the plagues that come along with that. Consequences and actions and things like that. And so, come out of her, my people, come to the wilderness, to a place prepared by Yah. That's where he wants us, away from the noise, away from the sin, away from all the chaos. And we can see it. I don't even watch the news that much. I was talking to my dad on the phone last night. He's talking about all this stuff on the news. I was talking to my brother. He called me from Virginia. My brother, who's not that, I didn't think, political. He went to a rally in his county for the Second Amendment sanctuary. He's like, there were thousands with an S. Citizens showed up at this rally, and he said it was amazing. They were angry. It was like torches and pitchforks there. That's chaos going on in the cities. Was there a rally in this county, which I don't want to mention because it's on YouTube? Does anybody care? Are there Democrats in this county? Yeah. Are there Republicans in this county? Yeah. Are there independents? Yeah. Are they fighting each other and stabbing each other unless they're in one of these cities over here, maybe? No. Nobody cares. We ain't got time for that stuff out here in the wilderness. You know, it's like that's where the problems are. And the Father's telling us, come out of her, my people. And so that's where the church goes. They go to the wilderness. Partakers of her sins and receive not of her plagues. Now here's the thing. And I'm not talking to y'all because you're here. I'm talking to the people on YouTube. There's a lot of people who think, I'll come out of her right at the last second. Because right now I have an awesome job. Who here gave up pretty good jobs when they came here? I think almost all of us gave up pretty good jobs when we came here. Money-wise. That allow us to do the things that we rationalize, well, God wants me to have a Mercedes, or I need to pay for my kids to go to Cornell, or I want a big screen TV, Sister Kate's showing me, and I deserve these things because God wants me to be happy. You can have it all, just give me your money. Right? I mean, but they think at the last minute, I'll go out. I'll leave this all behind at the last minute. I mean, we were having a conversation today that kind of parallels this over here, talking about ourselves. At the last minute, I'll go. And you're betting your timing that it's better than Hasatan and that you know more than Yah does. Yah says, come out of her, my people. He doesn't say, come out of her, my people, when you feel like it. Come out of her, my people, right at the last second. He says, come out. Come. Y'all remember Lot's wife? Talking about timing? Oh, yeah. They were coming out of her, right? They were coming away. And what's Lot's wife do? She turns back. What she was doing is she was longing for those things, and she's wondering if I don't have a little bit more time that I can just be there with all that nonsense that's going on in that city. It's turned into a pillar of salt. Too bad for her. She didn't make it. Here's a news flash. Not everybody's going to make it. The remnant is always small. That makes it. It's not large. It's not like the whole Christian church in America is going to make it. They're not. Come out of her, my people. All right. Revelation 12. Okay, verse 13. So the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, and he persecuted the woman, which is why she fled, and brought forth the man-child. The woman represents us. We can just say that, right? Church in the end times. He's persecuting her. That means the woman is being persecuted. Persecuted isn't they talk mean about me on YouTube. Persecuted isn't they called me a cult. You know, I'm in a cult. That's not persecuted. Persecution is persecution. We haven't experienced it yet. There are people in China experiencing, believers in China getting persecuted. There's believers in South Sudan getting persecuted. It's coming. The adversary is going to, and so we have to be strong for that. But there's good news coming. And to the woman, I'll just read it and then we'll come back to it. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time, 3.5 years, from the face of the serpent. So this woman is going to sanctuary. She's going to a place prepared for her in the wilderness, and she's going there on the wings of an eagle. That's an interesting thing. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Exodus 19:4 is where we're going. Wings of an eagle. Somebody's already there. There we go. Oh, that's because I'm in 18. All right, so I'm going to start in 3. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. I brought you here on wings of eagles. Exodus is what that's referring to. Second Exodus is what we're reading about. In Revelation. Now check it out. I've given a speech, a talk, a thing at conferences on the second Exodus. And there's so many people in our walk that think the second Exodus is all sweetness and light. And it's all going to be wonderful. And I'm not going to turn this into that sermon. I will just tell you that the second Exodus is going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. We're going to be persecuted by the chasing chariots of Pharaoh and the people that we meet along the way that we have to fight. And the second Exodus doesn't end just exactly when they cross the river into the Promised Land, because they have to earn the Promised Land and fight the people that are there and kill the giants. They got to slay the giants. It's tough. It's exhausting work. And exhausting physically. It's going to be physically exhausting again. Mentally, the deception that's going on, and we're going to say, wait a minute, I know that's not right, but man, it makes good sense. How can we fight this? Through the Word, right? We're going to have to fight through, but it's going to be mentally exhausting going through this process. And what's the third exhausting that it's going to be? It's going to be spiritually exhausting. And we're all like, no, I'm good with the Father. My spirit's strong, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be spiritually exhausting. And here's another thing. You can really work on somebody's morale, on their spirit, on their intellect, by first breaking them down physically. Do it in the military all the time. We're going to break you down physically and exhaust you, and your ability to resist is going to be greatly weakened just because your body is weakened. Mm-hmm. We have to keep ourselves strong. Strong is a relative term. But it's important. It's as important as keeping spiritually strong, to the extent that we can. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40. Come on. There we go. Isaiah 40, verse 28. Have you not known? Have you not heard that the everlasting Elohim, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, faints not, neither is weary? We're talking about being strong. We're talking about not being exhausted. There is no searching of his understanding. He gives power to the faint, and them that have no might, he increases strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Wings as eagles. This is the same thing we're reading about in Revelation. The woman who goes to the wilderness, how she gets there. Wings of eagles. What are the wings of eagles? Those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall mount up on wings of eagles. So it doesn't matter if you're the CrossFit champion. If you're not waiting on Yahweh, you're not going to have these eagle wings to fight this exhaustion that's coming. So the woman comes to the wilderness, to the place prepared for her by Yah, on these wings of a mighty eagle. So what's that mean the woman's doing? How does she get these wings?
Waiting upon Yah.
She's waiting upon Yah. That's us. We're worshiping Yah. We're following Him. We're doing those things. And that's what that refers to there. And to the woman we're given wings of a great eagle. Okay. And the serpent, so the woman goes to the wilderness on these wings, her worshiping of Yah, right? That gets her there. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away in the flood. So she goes to the wilderness and he cast out a flood after her. This is imagery. It's not a real flood. Somebody say, yes, that's when Edgar Casey said the country's going to split in the middle. I don't think that it is. The flood that the serpent cast out after her is like a flood coming out of his mouth of lies and deception. Lies about us and deceiving of us, and other people for that matter. But it's sowing confusion and it's sowing chaos that's coming after. Those people who are running away, they're actually the enemies of Yah. If they were with Yah, they wouldn't be out there hiding in the wilderness. They would be in here in the city fighting for what needs to be fought for. Those kinds of things. To make us look like the bad guy. Everybody that went out there is a cult of child molesting cannibals that lives out there. Let's go get them. That's the flood. The other way that water and flood is used in the Bible is to represent people. And so he's sending people after the saints that escape, that flee to the wilderness. People are coming to get the saints who are having their nice little I got a lot of comments on that because I did another video where I talked about Civil War II. If it happens, I said it's going to be fought primarily in and around the cities. That's where the people are. That's where the chaos is going to be. I said in the main, it's not going to be out in the countryside. You could see the spirit of people. Oh, they're coming out after you too. No, they're not. There's nothing out here worth getting. This power is going to run out in about 20 minutes. You want all of that? Come on. I mean, they're not coming out here. And more to the point, let's look at the next verse. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed the flood which the dragon cast out of its mouth. So here's the woman. She flees into the wilderness. Here comes the flood, whether it's a flood of lies and deception or it's a flood of people chasing her. But the earth opens up and swallows that. And so I got to thinking about that. If it's a flood of lies and deceit that's coming after us when we go to the wilderness, how does the earth open up and swallow that? I'll tell you how it happens. And this goes directly, I've just got chills from what we were talking about over there about throwing these phones away and stuff. If you're not connected to the noise, it's kind of hard to be deceived. Sister Kate and I don't have a TV. We don't watch TV. We do watch YouTubes and stuff like that occasionally, a lot. But we're not getting bombarded. There's some people who have a TV in their house. It's just constant propaganda coming in. It's like my dad watches Fox News all the time. I've watched Fox News a couple times, and people think Fox News is the conservative newscast. If you watch it, there's a lot of lies woven into that stuff that people who aren't sensitive to it, it just goes right over them and right into them. But when you come out of Her My People and you get away from that noise and that garbage and you're in the wilderness, you're not being deceived. You're not hearing their propaganda. You're not surrounded by the billboards that are telling you what to think, and the stores and the movies and all that stuff. So that's one way. And then the other way is if the flood is people coming after you. I've said this before. Our military and the world's military is starting to concentrate more and more and more on urban combat. Why is that? Because that's where the people are. Well, it could come a time when all these urban warriors have to come out and fight chiggers and ticks and swamps and stuff like that, and they're just not that good at it anymore. And another aspect is the earth could physically open up and create chasms and things like that. That could happen. But the point is the wilderness is the place for the saints to be, away from the people, away from the lies, away from the deception that's coming. Verse 17, last verse. And this is important. And the dragon was wroth, he was angry with the woman, us, and he went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. This war that the dragon is making against us, against the people, is a physical war. There's bullets and bombs and probably lightning bolts and everything else coming, and it's more importantly a spiritual war. Mm-hmm. It's a war for your soul. That's why we talked last week about the whole armor of Yah. That's the important armor. That armor isn't to stop 9mm rounds. That armor is to the wiles of the devil, the fiery darts of the devil, those kinds of things. And again, it's easier to attack somebody spiritually when they're physically weak and in pain. It's just too hard. Okay, I'll do it. When you're strong and you feel good and you're wide awake and you've had your coffee and your eggs and your Wheaties and everything in your body works, life's pretty good. I can be strong. I can resist, which is why when people are put into interrogation and stuff like that, they're broken down physically first to do that. Even police do it to a lesser degree to people. And so we have to remain physically and spiritually strong. Now, it says it was wroth with the woman, and we've said the woman is Israel. It's the church, the remnant in the last times. But it says, and with her seed. Well, if the woman is us, let's say, who's our seed? Because that little baby right there is an Israelite. So that's the woman, too. That's not Brother Alex's seed in this context. Who's the seed? Spiritual seed. This is what I think. There's a lot of people who don't get it. Mm-hmm. A lot of good-meaning, God-fearing people who don't understand the way. They don't understand what we're getting ready to get into here, the last little bit of this verse. They're going to at the end. And the way they're going to get it at the end is the Holy Spirit is going to speak into their heart, but y'all are going to testify. You all are going to have to tell people this is important. And who are these seed? How do we identify these people? They have the testimony of Jesus Christ and they keep the commandments of God. Mm-hmm. Well, all God-fearing Christians have a testimony of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. They should, right? And I believe they do. Good Christians have a testimony of Jesus Christ. But I tell you what, they do not keep the commandments of God. They don't. So they're going to have to hear it from you and from others like us, how important it is that you keep, and they don't get it. Now, there's Jews out there who nominally keep the commandments of God. They keep Torah. There are devout Jews who try to keep Torah. Do they have a testimony of Jesus Christ?
Nope.
No way. That's what they do. They don't believe it. Some of them are going to get it too. And so these will be the seed of the people who have fled to the wilderness and survived the onslaught. Our job is not to get out there and go, well, I got my buckets of wheat, corn, rice, and beans, and Brother Cody put up some sausage that we can eat too to make this go a little bit better. Life's pretty good for us. Too bad for all those other poor sots out there. Oh no. Our offspring, our seed, keep the commandments of God and have a testimony of Jesus Christ. Those are the people that we nurture, that come after us, that are, if you will, nourished by us and brought along by us, just like a mother brings her children up. We're going to have similar roles to do. This is one of the most important bits of Scripture, I think. Those people in the end, YouTube, because I know I'm preaching to the choir right here, those people in the end who make it, testimony of Yeshua, testimony of Jesus Christ, and, that's a hard and, keep the commandments of God. Mm-hmm. You got to have both. Mm-hmm. Don't wait too long to figure that out. Don't be like Lot's wife, turn around, turn into a pillar of salt. Let's pray.